Hello to all of our viewers. Welcome to Facebook Live for Carrollton-Farmers Branch ISD. I am Pam Pena, the Community Relations Coordinator, and let's get started tonight. We're really excited to talk about Kindergarten Live for Carrollton-Farmers Branch School District on Facebook. We are here with some experts tonight. They are kindergarten teachers in our school district, and I'm going to give them a chance to introduce themselves, and then we'll get started with some questions so we can help you understand things about kindergarten students. You want to go ahead and get started? This is our panel tonight. Sarah, you want to get started?
Yes, hi, I'm Sarah Eaton. I'm your Advanced Academic Services Gifted Specialist. I have also taught kindergarten in CFB, as well as I have two sons who are CFB graduates, and I'm really glad to be here tonight.
Hello, my name is Natanya Lafreniere, and I've taught in CFB for 9 years. I currently teach at Davis Elementary as a kinder teacher. I have a son that is in the Biomed Academy at Turner, the 11th grade, and I have a 5-year-old that's in our pre-K program at our district academy.
Good evening, I'm Vanessa Delgado. I've been in the district for 5 years, and I teach bilingual kindergarten at Farmers Branch Elementary.
My name is Shannon Eichenhorst. I teach at Kent Elementary. I've been there for, this is my 11th year. I have 3 boys in CFB, 2 in high school, and 1 at Kent with me.
Good evening, I'm Deborah Puente, and I currently teach at Davis Elementary, and I've been with the district for 13 years, and I've been a kindergarten teacher for 10 years, and I'm a bilingual kindergarten teacher.
Good evening, my name is Trina Brazil, and I teach kindergarten at Landry Elementary, and this is also my 13th year in the district.
Hi, my name is Corinne Villacrest. I teach at Blair Elementary. I've taught in the district for 15 years. I've taught kindergarten for a total of 18 years. My son is a product of the district. He graduated from the early college high school, and he is now attending Austin College in Sherman, so I'm very proud of his accomplishments in the district.
Well, thank you. As you can see, audience, we have a lot of experts here, and I thank you all for being here tonight and taking the time to share your experience as kindergarten teachers in our district. Without further ado, we should get started. We have had some previous questions asked of us before this broadcast, so we're going to ask some of those. But first, we have an important question, and the first one is, what can I do now to ensure my child has a successful start to kindergarten? And that is open to any of you, so please share.
So, great question. One of the things that we encourage parents to do is to help their child with independence skills. So on the first day of school, our job is to make sure your child is safe and feels welcome, but they're also going to be independent from day one. So things like being able to go to the restroom by themselves, to manipulate their clothing, fasten, button, zip, to be able to take their backpack on and off, to eat lunch and manipulate their lunch cartons or their lunch box. So all of those things you can start practicing now with your child and take a step back as your role and just coach them along. So that's one of the things I would recommend.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I would like to add on to that as well. Trina brought up some valid points. I think prior to, we were told that the age scale was from 0 to 5. So even looking at the younger ones and the toddlers, having things like just communicating and having conversations with them, whether it's casual conversation about what they just currently watched on television, or a casual conversation when you're going for a walk, in the grocery store, talking about different items, maybe produce, exploring. We also spoke about just having experiences, whether it's going to the post office or going to a museum. And one of the things that really resonate with me, especially with the younger ones, singing songs, nursery rhymes, and things like that.
I think another important thing is reading to your child. It allows them to hear the way a story should be told, so when they start reading, they know how it should sound. It also helps them build vocabulary, and they just enjoy reading because their parents read to them. So I think that's very, very important.
That's great.
Piggybacking off the 0 to 5, building fine motor skills in the fingers from early on. Scissors, have them hold a pencil, Play-Doh, tearing paper, get messy. Let them use their fingers and build those muscles because we're going to be using them every day, all day in kindergarten.
Okay, those are great answers. Thank you so much. Just to give a quick recap to our listening audience, we are sitting here with a panel of expert educators for kindergarten. We're with Carrollton-Farmers Branch School District, and we're answering questions from parents about kindergarten. So feel free to leave your questions in the comments section on Facebook. Okay, so our next questions today. Natanya, you want to answer this for us? What does a typical day look like for a kindergartner?
Well, that's a great question as well. I recall asking this question to myself 11 years ago with my son. And being a part of it, it is a day filled with many activities. It's enrichment. You have where your student or your child arrives. They are guided to the classroom with their classroom teacher. There they're able to listen to the campus announcements, which builds campus community. From there, we go on into all of the contents. They learn reading, writing. We have science and social studies. They sing songs. They do nursery rhymes. There's phonics. Of course, they have lunch and recess. We give them an opportunity to take a break that way. And weekly library, so we're encouraging and allowing them to select those books. We visit the library every week. And then the end of the day, they go outside. Well, not the end of the day, but during recess, they have a break outside. The end of the day comes, and then we start it all over again the very next day. Lots of learning, lots of things occurring, a full day every day.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. That was a great overview of the day. I think that includes a lot, doesn't it,
Yes,
ladies?
it does.
Okay.
They have a lot.
Okay. And so, Vanessa, do kindergartners have any other special activities aside from what the first through fifth graders have in an elementary campus? And maybe do they follow the same school hours as the rest of the campus?
They do follow the same school hours as the rest of the campus. They're pretty much integrated in our school. There's nothing really too different than what they do, maybe other than having a snack midday or mid-morning, depending on when they have their lunchtime. But no, they follow the same thing as all of the other kids do on our campuses. One thing we do not do in kindergarten is take naps. We value every second of the day to make sure that they're learning and growing as students. So we do not take naps in kindergarten.
Okay.
So they should be exhausted when they get home.
You just busted a myth, didn't you? Yes. Okay, very good. Thank you. Shannon, so can you tell us a little bit about lunchtime for kindergartners? Can they bring their lunch or can they buy their lunch?
They can do both. We have some kindergartners that bring their lunch a couple of days and buy their lunch the rest of the days. We're going to make sure that they all get to the cafeteria. Some talk the whole day, and they don't all always eat all their lunch, and so some of their lunch is going to come back home. But we do have lots of helpers the first couple of weeks of school. They're expected to get their silverware and get their milk and pick a selection and pick their side and scan their card, and they'll carry that tray all by themselves to the table very independently.
That's great. That does teach independence. And so, so do they serve breakfast as well at school?
All campuses serve breakfast as well. The start times for breakfast may vary from each campus, but it's available for all students.
Okay. Oh, so we had a question from a parent that is asking, do they have the opportunity to come and eat lunch with their child?
I think that varies campus to campus, so that's something to check in with the child's teacher. On my particular campus, parents and family members are invited to come eat lunch on Fridays. We do, on my campus, we tend to wait 2 weeks just so that we can get the routine down, so not for the first 2 weeks of school, but then after that, Fridays are open. But that's a question to ask on a campus-by-campus basis.
Okay, great. Okay, so I'm just going to recap here what we are doing for our listeners who may have just joined us. We appreciate you watching our broadcasts and for participating with us online. I am Pam Pena with Carrollton-Farmers Branch ISD, and we're here with our expert educators discussing kindergarten. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments section below, and share this video and like the video to encourage more parents to tune in. Okay, so now let's get back to our questions. Let's talk about some procedural things, okay? A parent has asked us previously, I'm worried about dismissal. How does that process work? How does my child get home? Deborah, you want to answer that one? Okay.
Yes, that's a very important question. And to be honest, each campus as well, it varies a little bit. Just make sure to talk to your teacher. A lot of our campuses will also provide a sneak a peek or a supply drop-off or a meet the teacher prior to school beginning, the first days. And we recommend that you go to those because you can get a lot of information from your teachers. They will let you know exactly where you need to be at the end of the day when you pick up your child. And they might even give you a little name card with the student's name. That way you can present it at the end of the day and your teacher knows exactly where that child goes and who they go home with. Also, if for some reason you are not able to pick up your child and you need to have somebody else pick them up for you, make sure that you notify the office or the teacher, be it a note or calling the school. It is very important that we know exactly who your child is going home with. They need to be on a list, and if they're not, they need to go to the office, show ID. We might have to call you, and it becomes a bigger process. So just make sure to let the teachers know, so that way your child gets home safely.
Okay, that's great. It's all a great safety procedure, isn't
Yes.
it? Yes. Okay. And so is carpool is a very, how does a carpool work with kindergarten? It varies on campuses also?
It does vary. On my campus, we do have the name cards, and the parents will pull up in the driveway, and they will show the name card with the student name, and then we will escort the child out to the car.
Okay, good.
Or if they're walkers, they kind of stand out by the door, and they show us their name card as well, and then we go ahead and give them their child.
Okay, that's great. Okay, and so what about children who take medications during the school day? How does that work? Trina, can you help us with that?
So if your child needs to take medication during the day, that's not a problem. The best thing to do when you enroll your child is to meet with the school nurse. You will have to bring the medication in the original bottle that it was sent to you in from the pharmacy. And on that, it needs to have your child's name. It also has to be current within the last 12 months. It needs to have the doctor's name and then the prescribing orders, like the dosage or the time that the child needs to take it. There will be some consent forms for you to sign, and then the nurse locks the medication up in her office and then gives it to the child at the certain time. So as a teacher, the nurse lets me know, for example, I have a student this year, the nurse lets me know that this child takes medication in the morning and at noon. So we are in constant communication to make sure that he takes his medication at exactly the right time. As far as over-the-counter medication, that can be given at school. It does have to be in the original bottle that you purchased it in, so you can't send it in a baggie or a different container. Those medications can only be given up to 5 days. So if your child needs Tylenol or an allergy medicine or a nasal spray, it can only be given up to 5 days. You still have to sign a consent. After that, a doctor's order would need to come in order to continue that medication. And as far as allergies go, if your child has any allergies, that's something that you definitely want to let the nurse know about, and also the teacher as well. She'll get the information if your child needs an EpiPen or something special. We'll have that on file with your consent in the office. If there is a specific food allergy that the doctor has ordered or has confirmed, then you'll need to send in a note or a specific form from the doctor saying, my child is allergic to, for example, milk. After that form comes in, we send it to the nutrition department, and then it is placed on your child's file, so that when they go through the cafeteria line, if they accidentally picked up milk, the cafeteria manager has a flag on their account to say no milk, no peanuts, etc. If it's just a preference and they don't like milk, then that's something that the child takes care of, which there are plenty of students who say, no, thank you, I don't want whatever. But as far as specific allergies go, that's something that needs to be confirmed by the doctor and discussed with the nurse.
Wow, that's great. Thank you very much. That was very thorough, and I'm sure a lot of parents feel very happy to hear the procedures that take place for that. Well, let me remind our audience again that this is Kindergarten Live with CFB ISD. And make sure to share this broadcast with your best friend or someone who has kids or about to enter school. I think we have a question coming in. Is that right? Did you have another one?
We do. We've had a couple of questions come in from the viewing audience. The first question is, when will registration be open for kindergarten in CFB? So do any of you know on your specific campuses? I know we have upcoming kindergarten open houses and kindergarten roundups, sneak a peek. So anybody know any of their dates? I know we actually have one beginning tomorrow. So over the next few months, all of our campuses will be allowing parents to come and kind of get a look at what kindergarten is like on our campuses. And I want to remind our viewing audience that cfbkinder.com is the website to find all the information on kinder registration. But the official online registration will begin in May. So it's all online. It makes it easy for you. So parents out there, online registration for kindergarten is officially in May. But check out cfbkinder.com so you can find the upcoming open houses for kindergarten roundups on the campus where your child will attend. And if you don't know where your child will attend, at cfbkinder.com, you can put in your address and it will tell you where your child will attend kindergarten. We had another question come in, and it was about after the bell. And if you want to talk about, someone asked if we offer after-school activities for kindergarten students. Anybody want to take that one?
I'll take it.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank
I'll take it. Yes, every campus we offer an after the bell program. Every campus has an on-site director who will communicate, who the parent will communicate with directly. The way, speaking at our campus, we actually get, when they come in for registration and for kinder roundup or open house or whatever it means, she has folders and files prepared, so if the parent is interested in having their child stay in after the bell, they have the forms ready to go in a folder where they can review the hours, the fees, whatnot, and she's present, usually to answer questions for any present parent at that time. The After the Bell program is a wonderful program, and I'm speaking from experience. I'm one of the teachers at my campus who work the After the Bell program, and what it allows is easy transition into allowing your child to, we do all kinds of things as far as homework, they have snack, we also include enrichment where we're trying to extend their learning and thinking, and they're in a safe and familiar environment. There is a system set up to where when there's pickup, just like we have from any other time, where we have to have documentation of the parent, an ID on file. If anything changes, it would be the same procedures as Deborah mentioned. You would communicate with the front office, who until will get that to the director of that campus, just to make sure that the child is safe. One of the things that I have truly enjoyed being a part of this is seeing the students, because they see us all the time, they really think that we live there. But when they get an opportunity to interact with you outside of the classroom, and you're really able to build those relationships and allow them to grow and help them with their homework or extend their thinking. So just when you go and contact your campus, when you get ready to register, you can inquire at that time about the After the Bell program. Either the director should be there, or they'll have the information for you ready to go so you can get your child registered.
That's perfect. And remember, on our district's website, cfbisd.edu, if you put in the search bar After the Bell, you can pull up all of the information about rates and when you can register. It's online also, and you pay online, and you can pay monthly or you can pay all up front. So check it out, those of you that are asking online. Back to you, Pam.
Okay, great. Okay, so we have many questions regarding our gifted program. It's an award-winning program for gifted and talented students. And we have Sarah Eaton here with us today, who is an expert. She is from our Advanced Academics Department. And so, Sarah, we have some questions for you about this to help our incoming kindergartners. When can I have my child tested for GT? Excuse me, one second. I want to tell our listening audience that we refer to gifted and talented as GT. So throughout this, when you hear GT, that's what we mean, okay? So when can we have children tested for GT?
Well, in our district, it is an ongoing process. We do screen all kindergarten and first grade students every fall. So your child, once they get started in kindergarten, we give them the first several weeks of kind of getting used to the routines and getting to know their school, and then we begin the screening process right there on each campus. As well as with the older grade levels, second and above. It's a continual process. Anyone can refer them. We have even had students refer themselves. So for parents, teachers, and students, anyone can refer a student for GT testing and placement.
Okay, so what is different for my child if they qualify for GT?
So the way children are served in our district is in the classroom. We say they're clustered group. That means we try to keep them in a group with other gifted students that work similarly so that they're not alone, that they have some other cohorts with them. So once they're identified, we cluster group them. Now, if they're in kinder and they're already in their classroom, they may go out and do something with it a few times a week with that teacher and that group. But because we don't want to disrupt and change their schedule. But once we know that for subsequent years, we'll try to cluster group them. They are placed with a teacher that has gifted education. So it's a general ed teacher, but they've gone and done extra work to be experts in differentiation for your child and know about your social and emotional needs for your child and as a gifted child. And that's an important part. It's also important for you to know that they continue to do update training each and every year, the teachers that do the gifted education work with our students.
Okay, great. So we know that the gifted program is probably different as you age in CFB. So can you explain the two programs that you have for GT?
Okay, so in elementary, our primary mode of service is what we call ACE, which stands for Academic Creative Education. And those are the students that are served, identified, and they are served on their campuses, grades kindergarten through 5th grade. Some students are highly gifted in the sense that they are so far, much deeper. I'm trying to struggle for words to explain that they usually are reading far above grade level or maybe doing mathematics and writing, and their interests are not at all aligning with the interests of a typical age mate student. We can usually, the first round of testing, which is the ACE testing on every campus, will usually identify that those students, the teachers are usually identified, the parents usually know. So those are the students that we'll do some additional testing, and there's a special program just for them when they're identified where they're served at McCoy Elementary in what's called the LEAP program, which stands for Leading Exceptional Academic Producers. That's at McCoy grades K through 5. They do get a bus if they're in district from their home campus every day, and they have all of their classes at McCoy.
Okay, great. Thank you. That was nice and thorough. Okay, so how do I know if my child is gifted?
Well, and parents, we laugh, but it's so true. If you're your first child, you might not know any different. You might just think that's the way all children are. You think, oh my goodness, they're talking in full sentences very early, they're asking questions constantly, and they're making connections constantly between things that I didn't even make connections with. They're keeping you on your toes. They're insatiable in learning. That would be a sign of a gifted student. Sometimes people expect gifted students to have behavior that's more mature than other students, but that's not necessarily the case. We know that just because they might be reading, doing advanced mathematics, thinking in a different way than other students. They might actually be still socially immature. They may have meltdowns because it's just all too much, that we don't grow developmentally evenly. So don't, just because your child is having meltdowns or tantrums, but also reading and doing mathematics doesn't mean they're not gifted. They still are gifted academically.
Okay. And so if I suspect my child is gifted, who do I talk to on my child's campus about gifted services?
Definitely start with your child's teacher. They're going to want to know that when you're coming in. And if you have a chance, also mention it to the counselor on your campus. They will help get in contact with me or someone else from our department so that we can get that process started for your child.
Okay, so you mentioned before, excuse me, did I interrupt someone? No? Okay. You mentioned before that GT testing begins in kindergarten and first grade, but is GT actually offered for kindergartners?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
We do the screening in the fall. We have some students who get identified very early on in the fall, and so we start as soon as we have someone identified. So those services start when we have a child identified, and in some ways even before, because we start as teachers, and I'm a kindergarten teacher as well, you start and you have a child that's picking up reading very quickly beyond others. You're already moving with that child's needs. We meet that child's needs and say, hey, counselor, we need to test this one. So we start almost at the beginning with your child.
Okay, great. So for our listeners, please know that you can learn and read more about our advanced academic services by searching on www.cfbisd.edu, Advanced Academic Services, and you can see who to contact for further questions. Okay, so let's switch back to some other procedures during the kindergarten day. Please remember to help us spread the word about this broadcast by clicking share below the video screen. So, teachers, let's go back to some kindergarten questions here. How much playtime or physical exercise do kindergartners get during the day? Corinne, can you help us with that today?
Sure. Elementary students get a total of at least 135 minutes of physical activity per week, either through PE class or structured recess activities. Our district uses the CATCH program, which stands for Coordinated Approach to Child Health. It provides teachers with resources to nurture a love of learning. It's games and things that they can do outside to get their minutes in for physical activity. We also take breaks throughout the day so that the students can have a brain break, maybe do some stretching, some yoga. There's a program called Go Noodle that is online that you can actually do at home with your child also, that just provides some physical activity in small chunks.
So do you have to be enrolled in CFB to have access to Go Noodle?
No, Go Noodle is open to anyone. It's a free website.
Oh, okay, great. Can you explain that to us just a little bit?
There's a cartoon character, and whenever you do physical activity with your child, or the child does by themselves, dancing, stretching, yoga, the monster character earns points, and when he gets 10 points, he grows and develops muscles.
Okay, great.
So it's very stimulating to the kids. They really want their monster to grow and advance to the next level.
That's great, and it's called Go Noodle.
GoNoodle.com, yes.
Okay.
I would like
great.
to add on to that as well, because we utilize it at our campus daily. It has the physical aspect, or the physical part of it, but it also has activities for the social and emotional intelligence. So teaching your child or working with your child on breathing, or settling down, taking a moment to think. So there's different channels, and they can just go through and look. There's also physical activity that goes with emotions. They'll show their emotions. There's physical activities with rhyming words, so they bring in academics, and so it's amazing. So if they can just go in, you register, click on the channels. There's so many things that involve the physical aspect, but it's also bringing in the mind.
Well, that sounds wonderful.
Or should I say the brain?
Thank you both for sharing that with us. I'm sure our listening audience is going to look into that. Oh, okay, so do kindergartners stay with the same teacher throughout the day, or do they change classrooms? Vanessa, can you help us with that?
Yes. This will vary from campus to campus. So some students will have a self-contained kindergarten teacher, which means that teacher will teach all subjects. And other campuses are departmentalized, meaning that they have one teacher that will teach them the language arts portion of the day, and then they have another teacher that will teach them math and science. So depending on which campus you're at, they will change classrooms. They also have specials every day, so they'll either go to art, PE, or music. So that they will go out of the classroom to a different classroom for that, and they will have a different teacher.
Okay,
So depending on what campus you're at,
And so how many times a week do they do art, PE, and
they
music?
go every day
Do they?
to one of them. So like one day they'll go to art, the next day they'll go to PE, and then the next day they'll go to music, and then they'll just rotate.
Okay, that's
So every
great.
day, yeah.
And I'd like to add to that, kind of the first question that we asked about what you can do to help your child now. If your child is involved in a preschool program now or a pre-K program, or even if your child is able to participate with you in something like story time or any free classes at a recreation center, helping your child learn to attend and focus on another adult beside you or a family member is really going to help them, because they get really familiar with us as their homeroom or self-contained teacher, but then they also have to respond to the art teacher on Monday, and then the music teacher on Tuesday, and the PE teacher on Wednesday, and it rotates, the librarian. There might be different monitors in the cafeteria. So they're going to be exposed and expected to respond and learn from different adults in the building. So right now, if your child is used to just your core family, maybe 2 or 3 adults, exposing them at your place of worship or at a library or at the home improvement store, a class, and teaching them how to, okay, the adult is talking, turn and look at them and listen to what they're going to say. Being able to follow directions from someone else is really going to benefit them. And I think that might overwhelm some children when they first come in because they're used to being with a family member, but they grow and they learn to adapt. So that's something you can work on even right now, having them listen to a trusted adult, even when you're there.
Okay, great advice, everyone. Thank you. Okay, so Trina, can you help us with this? What method of teaching does CFB-ISD use in kindergarten classes?
Sure. So there's different methods of teaching for different subjects. In language arts, we have a balanced literacy approach to teaching, which means that we have different things that we do throughout the day. So literacy will include reading, writing, and then word study or phonics. And the balanced literacy approach includes a read aloud. It includes interactive writing and shared writing. It also includes workshop time. You'll hear readers workshop and writers workshop. And that just simply means that the teacher does a mini lesson to present a skill or a strategy. The students have independent work time, and during that period of the time, the child will get to practice by themselves. The teacher might also pull guided reading groups or strategy groups or small groups. The teacher might float around the classroom and conference with different students. And then we have a share time where we come back together or where they work with a partner to share what they've learned. So that's where we work on for literacy. We also do teach phonics. So part of our day is spent on word study, and so that's when they'll get their phonics instruction or their grammar instruction, and it includes handwriting as well. For math, science, and social studies, we have an inquiry-based approach, and that just simply means that there's a heavy focus on problem solving. There's a heavy focus on the students being engaged and interacting with the different materials and lessons. The teacher still presents a skill or a set of to help their knowledge base, but then the students have lots of different activities. So in math, we have workshop as well. We'll present a lesson, we'll teach the students how to play a game or how to do an activity, and then they often go off and work with a partner. So that's something else that you can work on. At school, we work with partners and in small groups a lot. So that sometimes children don't or aren't used to working with other same-age peers. So playing board games at your house, having siblings or friends or family members come over to play will really help them. Science and social studies lessons are really engaging. We try to do experiments and investigations and get them involved in hands-on activities. So it's a variety of approaches throughout the day.
Okay, thank you so much. So do you use any type of textbook in the kindergarten class?
So it's not probably the textbook that you remember as a parent. I had a textbook for every single subject, and I covered them with the paper. We don't do that anymore. In literacy, we want to use authentic literature, just like you would see at a bookstore or at a library. So children actually have books in their hand. They have small books as well called guided reading books that are written and they scale up from very, very basic reading all the way through what you would consider fifth grade reading level. So in reading, we have authentic literature. We don't have a textbook. In writing, they are writing on paper and producing pieces of writing with that. We do have a textbook in social studies that we do use sometimes. We use quite a lot of media, and we are very blessed to be a media-rich district. So we have iPads, we have computers, we have smart boards in our room that we're able to use. And in science, we do have a workbook, but students aren't sitting completing worksheets all day. They are up, they are interacting, they are writing in journals, they are having conversations, and so they are very busy. You won't probably see a textbook come home, but you might see, or you will see guided reading books coming home for them to practice.
Okay, well, that leads me to my next question. Do kindergartners have homework during the week?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
And just to piggyback exactly what Trina was sharing, going back to the balanced literacy and talking about the workshop, the homework is it is not anything new. It is to revisit and give the students an opportunity to practice what we have taught. When the teacher completes the mini lesson and releases them to work in the workshop and then come back, that's an opportunity to have discussions and have celebrations, maybe look at some ways that we can facilitate the thinking to guide them, and then we allow them to practice those skills at home. It wouldn't be anything just brand new. Reading, absolutely, every single night, whether I would tell my students, it could be the box that your mom is, the pasta box that she is making dinner, a newspaper, but we do create, or we make these bags based on the guided reading. We send books home with the students to practice, and we're reading with your child every single day. They're practicing at home. Once they've mastered that book or that level, they receive a new book. So we're cycling books every single day. So reading is a very crucial part when it comes to the homework. We include math, and kinder is just basic counting and looking at maybe bringing in geometry, shapes. It's extremely basic. It would be just practicing what they've learned in the classroom for the day.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so does a kindergartner need to know how to read before they enter kindergarten?
No, they do not. It is not required that they come in reading, on a level C or reading with ferocity and with fluency. Would that be great? Absolutely. I think the most important thing is when you're looking at a child, and I know that like I said, our age span is from 0 to 5, just having those conversations from 0 to maybe to a toddler, reading to your child, it builds a passion, or it creates a passion for reading because they're going to associate those moments with you with reading. Does it matter? I just recall sometimes, like my daughter, she'll grab one of my TEs and as I'm picking her up and it's upside down, but she's going across reading it, and it makes me smile because that's showing me that she's developed a passion for reading. Looking from the toddler, pre-K and pre-K on, letters and sounds, just looking at the alphabet, singing the alphabet song, and them listening to you. I think a huge part is also allowing them to look at pictures in books, get text or books that have colorful pictures, and though they may not know the words on the page, they can create a story and tell you a story just by viewing those pictures, which is the gateway to exactly what they need when they come into kinder.
Mm-hmm. Okay, wow, this is great advice. Thank you. Just a reminder to our listeners, and for those of you who may have just jumped on with us, this is a live broadcast of Kindergarten Live on CFBISD's Facebook page, and we're asking educators in our district important questions about kindergarten. I have a few questions more to ask. A parent asks, can I request a specific kindergarten teacher? Anybody want to take that? How about you, Shannon?
I would love to take
Okay.
that. It's a very common question. While it does vary from campus to campus, a best thing to do would be to talk to the principal. If your child may have some specific social or emotional needs, I would talk to the principal, and so they can take that into consideration when they're putting groups together for the classes in the fall.
Okay.
Just to piggyback that, I agree with you 100%. I feel like our administrators and our campuses, they're going to try to place your child with the teacher that's the best fit, that's going to allow your child to have the successes and be able to learn. And different teachers can have
Different teaching styles.
exactly, different teaching styles that can embrace whatever that child needs. So communication is a key fact. If there's some concerns or even desires, just make sure that you communicate with the principal, assistant principal at your child's campus.
Okay, that's great. Okay, so clearly you all are experts. You have shared so much with us, and we appreciate it. So can you tell us what training or credentials do kindergarten teachers have in CFB ISD? How about you, Corinne?
Yes. Kindergarten teachers must have at least a bachelor's degree, complete an educator preparation program, pass a test to get certification in early childhood education, and undergo a criminal background check. In addition to that, teachers are constantly taking professional development classes throughout the school year, after school,
Every week.
during the summer.
You say summertime.
Yes, summertime. We do not get summers off. We're learning and getting prepared for the students that are coming for the upcoming year.
And we're really lucky in Carrollton-Farmers branch
Yes.
that we have a wealth of opportunities to continue our education. We have coaches on our campus that provide us with resources, and we have Learn More, Achieve More over the summer, which is like a training academy type thing where you can sign up for different classes that suit your grade level and your specific interests. So we're very lucky in this district that we have all these resources at our fingertips.
We even have moved to some online education opportunities for the teachers in the district too. So it is just ongoing all the time for teachers to continually sharpen their skills.
Well, it certainly sounds like it based on the information you've shared with us tonight. What is a typical class size for a kindergarten class in CFB?
A typical class size is anywhere between about 15 to 22 students per class. It does vary by school and sometimes even by every year. We get a different number every single year. Anywhere between 15 and 22 is about average.
Okay, great. Did you have any questions, Angela, that you had?
We have had a couple come in, and you've answered a lot of the questions that people have been asking on Facebook. But I have a couple. I'm going to answer one of them because you might not know the answer. But I'm over here with on our district's website, and it's allowing me to pull up all the information. We had someone ask about transferring. So if you live in one attendance zone and you want to transfer to a different school, the transfer timeline, transfers will start accepting them February the 15th, and that runs through May the 15th. We'll take applications, and you can find that information about transfer applications on the district's website at cfbisd.edu. So again, transfers are accepted February 15th at 8 a.m. That's when we begin accepting them through May 15th at midnight. So, and transfer information is available at cfbisd.edu. The next question is, we had someone ask someone missed the very first question that we asked. And the first question is about how can you prepare your child for kindergarten. And so I wanted to rephrase it a little bit. If you could give parents one tip on what's the best way to prepare your child to enter kindergarten, what would you say?
Would you like for just the panel, everyone,
That
just
would
to share
be
something?
fantastic.
Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right, I'll start here. One thing is to have your child used to a routine for both going to bed, getting up in the morning, and doing things, because school is as a routine. And so if they're ready, if before they start school, they've got practice getting to bed on time and getting up in the morning and putting on their clothes, that's going to be one step to getting them ready for kindergarten.
Okay. Books and reading with them, sharing and developing a passion for reading. Reading, it could be going to the library, it could be reading at bedtime, just having that moment and exposing them to the text and to the books and to the pictures. That is a great foundation to get them ready for what they're going to experience when they come to kindergarten.
Just having conversations with your children, whether it be you're outside in your backyard and you ask them what they see around them, having them describe things, just so that they're aware of their surroundings. So having lots of conversations and making them talk back. Not talk back to you in a bad way, but talk, reciprocate that's the speaking.
Having discourse. Yes.
Having discourse,
Having
yes.
discourse.
Because that's a lot of what we do in kindergarten is you need to explain your thinking. We're going to ask you, 2 + 2 = 4. How do you know that? Why do you know that? What do you see that shows you that? Use all those words. My tip would be make sure you come follow directions. For us to manage 22 children and get them all the academics that they need to be ready for first grade, be able to follow directions. If I ask you to clean up and go to the rug, please clean up and go to the rug.
Also, I think just being able to have fun with your child, and I mean, like, sit and write with them, sit and draw with them, have them color, have them glue, have them cut. It's okay for them to hold a pair of scissors. They are actually really good at it even the first time they grab them. You may need to kind of just help them a little bit as to how to hold the scissor, but then after that, they get going. Let them cut some paper. Let them develop those fine motor skills. That way they're comfortable when they come into the classroom, and once they get all those supplies, they'll know how to use them.
So I know some parents are thinking, I want specific academic information. That will help your child. So we take children at whatever level they're at, but if you are eager to start working on specific academic skills, I used to teach pre-K in the district, so I'm just going to run down quickly some of the guidelines that we expect end of year pre-K students to have to kind of give you a gauge. By no means do you have to feel like my child is not ready if they don't have these things. But letters and sounds, pre-K students are asked to know 20 letters and sounds. So working on the capital letter, lowercase letter, it doesn't really matter, but being able to identify those letters and identify the sounds. Also counting, rote counting, just 1, 2, 3, 4. Pre-K students are asked to count up to 30. So if you want a goal from now until August, having your child be able to count rote from 1 to 30 and identify the numbers from 1 to 10 would be something to work on. That would be reasonable. Identifying the 4 basic shapes would be great. And then also writing their name. That's something on the first day of school after you drop them off, hugs and kisses goodbye. They're probably going to get some type of coloring activity or just a getting to know you activity. And we will say, if you can write your name, try to do that. If they can't write their name, not a big deal. We're used to going around and helping students. But you can help your child feel confident coming in if they can write their name. I will give you a tip. If your child is having trouble writing their name, start with the capital letters. It does not bother us if they come in writing in all capitals. We will help them transition to lowercase, but capital letters are just easier for 4 and 5-year-olds to learn. So start with those capital letters, and if you want to practice tracing, quick tip, instead of making all of those little dotted lines, get a yellow highlighter, write their name in all caps with the highlighter, and then have them trace that with a pencil. So for some of you parents who want academic skills, that's just kind of a list of things that you could start with.
One of the things I think is most important is to encourage independence in your child. Teach them how to tie their shoes. Let them practice how to do that by themselves. Letting your child be responsible for certain things in the house. Maybe teaching them to prepare things for themselves to eat, to pour a glass of milk by themselves. Because a lot of students come to kindergarten and they've never really had to do anything for themselves by themselves. So one thing you can do to prepare them is to let them know that they're capable and that they can do things.
Okay, great. Did we have any other live questions?
We do have a couple coming in right now.
Okay.
We have, I'm answering them as quickly as I can. Viewers, I'm trying to type as fast as I can over here. We have, you answered the student-teacher ratio about how many kids are in the classroom. Thank you for answering that for me. And we answered the transfer dates. The last one we've had, and so we have some people online helping us answer questions as we go, too.
That's true.
So we appreciate that. Thank you, viewers, who are helping to answer those questions. Apologize, I'm trying to pull it back up because I've been typing. We already answered when does registration begin, and that'll be in May, and you can find out the information that you need to register your child at cfbkinder.com. But we do encourage you to look at cfbkinder.com because coming up beginning tomorrow, we have some kindergarten roundups where you can go visit the campuses and you can get a firsthand look at the classrooms and meet some of the teachers. So check out when your campus will be having it. They'll be having it between now and May. So at different times throughout the year at cfbkinder.com. We enroll online in CFB, so our online enrollment, you can find everything at the whole district website, cfbisd.edu, but we also have a quick way to get to our online enrollment at enrollcfb.com, enrollcfb.com. And our enrollment will begin in May. So be watching for that. We will be rolling it out. Typically, you need you'll have to have the child's a birth certificate or some kind of a documentation like that. We'll need you to have a lease or your mortgage statement or something to show where you live. We also ask that you have some documentation, or you can use a water utility bill will also work for that. We also ask that you have your child's shot records so that we can verify that they've had their shots in kindergarten. You have to have shots before you can enter school or sign a letter about that. So make sure you have your vaccination records. And but all of the information that we need online is available at cfbkinder.com or enrollcfb.com. And also the district website, cfbisd.edu. So those are kind of the questions that we've had. Let's see if we have a new one. Have you explained the process for dual language registration? Are any of you two-way dual language teachers or dual language teachers? We don't have one here. So dual language, actually, I will help answer that question. Dual language, which is a two-way dual language program. Does anybody want to explain what it is? Or you want me to handle that? Sarah, do you want to handle that for me?
What I know about the dual language, because I
Fantastic.
worked with a camp, Stark, which has a dual language program, is that there's an equal mix of students that are both native English speaking and native Spanish speaking. They receive all their language arts instruction in Spanish. They get their math and science in English, so they do have two teachers, and they do switch classes each day. And so as in the course of the time, they do that starting in kindergarten all the way through 5th grade, so that all students will be able to speak in two languages.
Fantastic. And if you're interested in that for your child, we encourage you to go to cfbisd.edu, and on the homepage we have a spot for you to click on that, because we need you to let us know that you're interested in it so that we can test your child to see if they qualify for dual language. And there is a parent informational meeting coming up soon. So check out, if you want your child to learn to speak in both English and Spanish, that's a great program that we offer at 2 campuses in our district. And so check it out at cfbisd.edu. Pam, back to you. Any more questions?
Okay, no, I just want to thank the panel of experts for sharing such amazing advice. To our listeners out there, to our watchers, just know that this is not the end of questioning. You are free to send us any additional questions to cfbinfo@cfbisd.edu. That is cfbinfo@cfbisd.edu, and we will get your questions answered for you. We want to ask you to spread the word about this Facebook Live. We will have this recorded and posted so that you can share it with neighbors and friends. And we hope that this has been helpful to you, and we want to thank all of you for being here this evening and for sharing all your expert advice and opinions. So thank you so much. And again, I'll repeat our website is www.cfbisd.edu, and you can get all the information that we just mentioned tonight on our website. Thank you so much, and have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.